Hello and welcome. Today is Friday, the 28th day of December 2018. Welcome to the Money Charts channel. It's going to be data and picks amongst tonight's hockey board. Let's go over some statistics this year in hockey. We got 4 leagues: the National Hockey League, the American Hockey League, that's the minor leagues to the NHL, the KHL, that's the Russian Hockey League, and the Ontario Hockey League, which is more like a conference to the Canadian Hockey League, and that's the junior level. It's the equivalency to the NCAA football and basketball, the next level before the NHL. It's the biggest pre-NHL stage that there is. All right then. So the statistics this year so far in the NHL, and that's not including all the games with the exception of the last 2 because of the stats that I was working with at the time. But yeah, pretty much up to date. Averaging 6.129 goals per game in the NHL. The home team is out defeated. The road team is 311 to 255. When the home team wins, 65.3% of the time it's by multiple goals. But when the road team wins, only 50.6% of the time. In the American Hockey League, the goals per game are a little higher at 6.32. Home teams with the 256-209 record, and the multiple differential of goals, 56.6% compared to 50% on the road. So not as high compared to the NHL. Is this a little too high for the NHL? Maybe, but the numbers are increasing for a reason. There'll be more. I'll be talking about that probably tomorrow. In Russia, the total's down to basically 5 goals a game. That's just gotta be terrible watching that hockey. Home teams barely outperforming the road teams, and the differential for the games pretty much around that 50% number on the road. But you can see home teams, with the exception of we go with the Ontario Hockey League, doing it way more often. Now, when you're talking about betting the AHL, KHL, and OHL, at least with CloudBet and other sites of the like, it's going to be higher juice, so it's 20-cent lines, as I would call it. But basically, if it's a pick'em, minus 120 for both teams compared to minus 110, making it so that I looked on the OHL and even the AHL and noticed that picking home teams on the puck line mathematically is barely maybe a good play. I looked at one Ontario Hockey League game, but they're averaging 7.25 games, and it's 70% of the time that when these teams win, they win by 2 goals. And more so on the Ontario Hockey League, home teams are winning. I'm not going to venture into any of these 3 leagues for tonight. I have ventured into the World Junior Championships, playing on the Swiss to laying goals against the Denmark, and then betting really Denmark not to get a goal, but either team, one of the 2 teams, to not score. And in that game, when I say one of the teams to not score, that means Denmark not to score. All right, the plays and opinion picks. We got the Toronto Maple Leafs going up against the Columbus Blue Jackets. These are 2 teams that I really don't want to bet against right now. But if you're going to bet on somebody, you have to bet against one or the other. The play is taking home teams to win by 2, and Toronto games definitely qualify for such. They're higher scoring games. That's the whole point of the extra games. When you have more 4-2, 4-3, or 6-7 goal games compared to 4-5, 6 goal games, then you're going to more likely have like 5-2, 5-3 compared to your 3-2 common scores from back in the day. 4-2 is now more common. So therefore, when we look at this, Sergei Bobrovsky, he's playing very, very well. The defense is on fire in Columbus, and the offense is on fire for Toronto. But Garrett Sparks, a little inconsistent, to say the least, amongst the nets. He is the backup goalie. Toronto will be playing the Islanders at home Saturday night, and that will most certainly be a play on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Also, they have one small injury, Zach Hyman, but you're talking about like their 6th best forward, 7th best forward, so that's not a big deal. So opinion play for me. I want to pull the trigger on the Columbus Blue Jackets laying a goal and a half, but I'm not going to touch this game at all. I'll play for fun on the fantasy league, but other than that, it's just a fun game to watch. These next 2 games do have plays on it, and it's both laying a goal and a half on the home team. In this case, Ottawa Senators, they're garbage as far as how good or bad they are. They're bad. They're amazingly bad, but the Islanders, they're not a great team, but they're not a bad team really either. And Robert Leonard has been magnificent behind the net, behind the pipes for him. And when we look at the goaltender stats, we got the road goalie 1-5 record, 3.78 goals against average. The home goalie 6-9 with a 244 and a 92% save percentage. So hopefully, with the weaker defensive Ottawa Senators, this will give the spark for the New York Islanders to be able to win that game by multiple goals. And finally, we got the Montreal Canadiens traveling to South Florida to take on the Panthers. And we got Antti Niemi starting for the Montreal Canadiens and Roberto Luongo in for the Florida Panthers. And as I stated yesterday, if Niemi's in, it's a play on Florida. So it's a play on Florida. Niemi this season 4-4 with a 4.13 goals against day average, saving 87.6% of his shots. Luongo 8-7, and I just add the last two numbers together. A loss is a loss as far as I'm concerned. A goals against average of 3 and a 90.5% save percentage. So I'm going to play again the home team laying a goal and a half. We can see minus 1.5 plus 190. Plus 190. I'm going to go over the mathematics more on this in the next video. But what I'm doing right now is I'm collecting data from every NHL season. I'm working backwards. I'm already back to 1976, and I want to go back to even like 1918, all the way from the start. All the data that I can get. Go over how history has worked, how trends play out, and how we're standing now and moving within the next couple years. So that will be the next video, and that will be on Saturday. And I'll also go on Saturday. There's a whole boatload of games. So there's going to be 2 videos on Saturday. Well, maybe one tonight. There'll be the early action, which will either be tonight or in the morning. Early morning. You might have to wait till 11:30. And then in the afternoon on Saturday, there will be another video which will focus more towards the night games. So that will be the schedule moving over the next couple of days. Again, we got what you decide to do is what you decide to do. I got Florida laying a goal and a half plus the juice money. I got Islanders plus a goal and a half, again plus the juice money. An opinion play on Columbus minus 1.5 goals. Now, what I might do is I might just come in and put a whatever bet for like Columbus to win like 5-3. That might be like a 5-3 final score. See what the odds are. I can only do that when this game starts, though. Or I might just probably better to watch the first period, then make a bet to see what I think the score would be. With live betting, that's a really fun thing to do. You get like 30, 40 to 1 odds if you can go for a long shot score and hit it. But just a fun bet. Nothing that is working on an investment level. Although, if I'm getting 40 to 1 on something, I've got to be better than 2.5% confident in the outcome to be in my favor. And again, tomorrow afternoon, 4 o'clock Eastern Time, a play on the Swiss team against the Denmark team. I'm laying 2 goals on one wager, laying 3.5 on another. Thank you for tuning in. Have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.